customer service rules if you work in an environment that has tickets. Many of us work in environments that have tickets. That's how you track things that come in. You work in a support center, you have tickets. You work in a logistical center where you have pick tickets, tasks that you have to do that are translated into tickets. Maintenance side of things, you might have a maintenance ticket, or if you're a plumber, you might have a ticket for a customer. A lot of industries, a lot of environments have tickets. Here are some rules if you work in an environment with tickets. Rule number 1, every issue has a ticket. Every issue has a ticket. Every issue has a ticket. If someone calls in, you need to make a ticket. If you have an issue for a customer, you need to make a ticket. If you have a customer who has an issue and then that issue expands, my Outlook's not working. You help them, you see it's not their Outlook's not working, they were just typing in their password wrong. You help them type in their password correctly, they get logged into their Outlook. 1 ticket. Then if they say, I'm also having an issue with my Excel, 2nd ticket. That's a different issue. Every issue has a ticket. It should be split. Sometimes you can combine those together, but most of the time, and as a general rule, every separate issue has a ticket. It doesn't matter if someone writes in and says, I don't need a ticket for this. It doesn't matter if someone calls you directly. Every issue needs a ticket. What sometimes happens is people try to go around the ticket system and they message or call someone directly that they know, and then that person just works on the issue and doesn't enter a ticket. When you do that, you lose all record of that conversation and all record of the things that were done to that person's system, that person's account, that person's computer, whatever it may be. Every issue needs a ticket. Number 2, if it's not in the ticket, it didn't happen. If it's not in the ticket, it didn't happen. If you don't put a note in the ticket on what you did, it didn't happen. The ticket is our method of keeping a record of what happened to the customer. If you didn't put it in the ticket, I have no way to prove what you did, what was done, when it was done, and by who it was done. If it's not in the ticket, it didn't happen. Maybe you had a conversation with me, your manager. Hey, I'm working on this ticket. It's really difficult. Did you try this? Okay, yeah, I'll do that. And you close the ticket because it works. If you don't put in the ticket, I talked to my manager and he told me to do this. When I look at that ticket in a month, I'm gonna say, how did you solve this? Well, I messaged you in Teams and you told me how to fix it. That's not how you solved it. Write it in the ticket. A Teams conversation is not a substitute for documentation. If it's not in the ticket, it didn't happen. If you don't put it in the ticket, you are not protected as an agent because we can't go back and say the reason this ticket took so long is because our agent was working on this and here's the troubleshooting they were doing. If it's not in the ticket, it didn't happen. You're underselling what you did to your organization by not writing down the steps that you took. If it's not in the ticket, it didn't happen. Never hide a ticket from a customer. Customers have to know that we are entering a ticket for every single thing they have. Customers tend to think that a ticket is for only things that'll happen in the future. When they want a quick answer, they may say something like, this doesn't need to be a ticket, or don't put in a ticket for this. A lot of times when a customer says this, it's because they're embarrassed that they have this question at all, and they don't want a record of it, and they think that by writing it in a ticket, we are essentially telling the whole organization that they called in with an embarrassing question. We don't share other customers' tickets with other customers. The ticket is a form of documentation for us internally, and we have to have a ticket for that historical documentation and to know what we've done for that customer, for that computer, for their account. Don't hide the tickets from a customer. If they call in and say, don't enter a ticket for this, that doesn't mean enter a ticket secretly. No, that means enter a ticket through the exact same process that you always do so they get that email or notification, a ticket has been entered for this. Customers have to know that that's the proper process and that that's how they communicate with us. The customers don't tell you the process. Our process tells you the process. Never let a customer throw you off the process. The customer does not get to define any sort of process. They don't get to define who the ticket is assigned to. The customer can't change our process. The only person who can change our process is us. The customer is always incorrect when it comes to the process because they are not the process creator for your organization. Handle their call, handle their ticket exactly like every other ticket should be. Don't let the customer change the process. The customer is not in charge of your process. One of the most important things about working in an environment with tickets, if not the most important thing, is to make sure the customer has regular updates. This is something I have seen everyone fail at in pretty much every industry I have interacted with. Someone enters a ticket and then they don't hear anything. There's something about the personality type that is attracted to work like technical work, troubleshooting. They never want to be wrong. They always want to have an answer. We are fixers and we're carers. We don't want to tell someone that we haven't figured it out yet. We want to come with a solution. I want to come to you with good news. I don't want to tell you I'm struggling to figure this out. I want you to know that I solved it so you're happy. Unfortunately, what often happens is we end up not communicating anything until we actually have a resolution. This is the worst possible thing you can do for a customer. No news is not good news. No news is miscommunication. Good news is good news. 99%, probably 99.9% of your customers will understand if you reach out to them and say, this is where we're at, this is what we've done, here's what we're still doing, but we don't have a solution for you yet. Or reach out and say, hey, we're still working on this. Is there any more information you can give me? We had these couple questions. Following up regularly with the customer lets them know that you haven't forgot about them. It lets them know that their ticket is still in process. No communication should never happen. If you don't follow up with your customer, they're going to be unhappy when they receive that solution because you didn't follow up. Even though you have good news to give them, they're still not going to be satisfied with how you got to that solution. Following up with your customer regularly, even if nothing has happened or there's no updates to provide, is absolutely one of the most important things you can do if you're working in an environment with tickets. If you're working in an environment with tickets, make sure you keep these rules in mind. Number one, every issue has a ticket. Number two, if it's not in the ticket, it didn't happen. Make sure you write everything that happened, all the troubleshooting, all the documentation, all of that. Number three, never hide a ticket from a customer. Customers have to know that they have a ticket in, so they know how to interact and what to respond and what to reference if they want to call and get a status update. Number four, the customer does not tell you the process. Your process tells you the process. Don't let a customer affect how you follow your process. The customer is not in charge of your process. Number five, give the customer regular updates. Even if you have nothing to report, give them an update, follow up with them. Don't leave them hanging. Let them know that you still care about them and that you're still working on their issue. Now, go be awesome.